Okay, let's call the meeting to order. We have one more committee person coming to make that quorum. They just texted me that they said they're pretty close. Okay, all right. So am I live now or am I like 2 seconds behind?
So what I learned the last time this happened when there was an echo is that the YouTube volume was on. So I just turned off the YouTube volume. Everything else should be good to go.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, we're just waiting for that other person to get here unless, Keen, would you be willing to come in and sit in and then until Katie gets here? So I'm gonna,
Well, we're technically not voting on anything, so.
yeah, we're not technically voting in it, but
So
we
we
still would
can-
need a quorum anyway, don't we, to run it?
So with the three you have a quorum, but by all means, welcome Keen to the committee today.
Right. All right, we'll just, she's walking up the steps now, she says.
All right.
All right. Oh, sorry about that. Hi, Ally. I see we have Ally on Zoom.
Hello.
Oh, goodness. Okay, all right. Katie is here. So, Becky, if you could do roll call for us?
Sure.
Morning.
Jack Scrogstad,
Here.
Dean Friel,
Here.
Katie White,
Here.
Ron Gascoigne, Reed Acree,
Here.
Ally Hess.
Here.
Okay, all right. Do we have any visitors? And I believe, Connie, we do. If you want to push that button there and make it turn green on that light, and then just go ahead and tell us your name, and then go ahead and give us your 2 cents. That's the best way I could say it, or say whatever you got to say.
My name is Connie Blasser Emery, and this summer we have a food truck. It's called JYD's Home of the Junkyard Dog, and I was born and raised in this town, so but I had moved to Iowa, so I came back to go to the 4-H fair, and so upon doing that, before we can do that, they make us sign put their name on our liability policy for insurance and stuff like that. And so, which is mandated that, if we do anything to them, then, we're liable. But what happened is that there was a 70-mile-an-hour wind that came in. And what it did is it lifted their tent up, their 40-foot, I want to say 30 to 40-foot tent. It took 15 people to carry and to put up. It went up in the air and it wrapped around our food trailer. And the stakes went through our roof and it totaled out our food trailer. Well, Pat Riley, they had rented tents from, not this tent, the specific tent, but the other tents in the bounce houses, he came over to our trailer and told us that, that tent was not staked down. And he told Andy Pratt to stake the tent down the day before that storm came in. And the people that were on our truck said it was not staked down. I'm not a tent person, so it wasn't something I noticed. So, but everybody on our truck, which are business people, the one was a dietitian. So it's, people were business people in this local area and said it was not staked down. Well, we were in the trailer till 1:30 in the morning and we had 350-degree oil in there. If we would have been in there and that tent would have hit our trailer, it would have been devastating. And so I did some research and I couldn't find any ordinances that in this county for tents. But, you know, as a food truck, we have to be inspected for the food, for temperatures, refrigeration, all of that, fire. And, you know, I don't know if a bad hot dog would do that kind of damage, but we lost a trailer and we got denied the claim. And my trailer was paid for. We're $20,000 in debt because there's no regulations on those tents. Now, Pat Riley, he had 1-inch straps on his tent and he had 3-foot stakes on the bounce houses and everything. Not one of his flew up in the air. But had that tent flew up and hit people, it'd have been devastating. Or if it would have hit when we were in the trailer, which missed us by an hour. There just needs to be a better standard. And there was a lot of, I think the most devastating thing for me was to be, this is my hometown. I grew up here. And for local people, by talking to the other vendors, they wouldn't put it in writing, the truth of this, where they noticed that the stakes were not there. They had tied down to picnic tables. So we're very fortunate a picnic table didn't land on top of us. But for people to say, for instance, Pat Riley had told me he made $9,000 last year at the 4-H fair, but he wanted to go back. So he wouldn't answer the call to an insurance agency. That's terrible. That's a huge loss for me. Like, I mean, it's like we lost a trailer that they said, our insurance company said it would cost $45,000 to replace our trailer. And it did. But we didn't get that insurance. The insurance denied us. So it put us farther in debt. But so that's the financial part of it. But as far as the weather, I know we can't predict weather or whatever, but the 3 tornadoes that I've been in this town growing up hit in broad daylight. So if that tent would have flew up at that rodeo and hit the kids or anybody in the stands, it would have been devastating to not have any standards. And I think we ought to have standards for people's property, for people's lives. The health inspector back home said, I don't know anybody that could have withstand the loss that you guys took on this trailer, because she inspected the one that we had and the new one that we got. It was a huge loss. Like, put us out the whole season. That was in July. That storm hit, I think, July 28th. As of October, we were just now getting able to do anything to purchase another trailer, but we had to take out a loan to do that. So to come back into this county and just be treated like that, I was just devastated. And to find out there's no codes for tents. Like, and it flew up in the air and it wrapped completely all the way around our trailer. And 70-mile-an-hour winds. And the weight of that tent, it took 15 people to put in place. So I'm sure everybody can imagine the devastation if it would have hit people. So I just think we need a better standard. I'm asking that ordinances be put in place. I was specifically asked to come back to the farmer's market, but imagine how I feel after losing and going in debt, missing a whole season, and want to set up here again at a farmer's market to be hit by another tent. I mean, the 4th of July, I mean, I was really hoping to be put in there this year, or any other vendor for that matter. If their trailer got hit like that, they lose their business too.
Okay, well, thank you, Connie. Actually, we have a Lee County Tent Code discussion later on in our agenda to discuss that particular issue. So appreciate you coming. Hope you could stick around and listen to our conversation on that. So we have no other public attendees. Oh.
Thank you, Jack. I'd just like to introduce Jeremy England as our new administrator. Just started this morning.
Hi, Jeremy. Well, welcome.
And Jeremy, we'll let you monitor. We'll test later on how many people you remember who their names are.
Yeah.
Good thing is I have a sheet right in front of me.
All right. Well, welcome, Jeremy. Hope you figure this mess out for us. All right. If anyone has had any chance to look at the minutes from last month, if there's any changes that you think we need to make, if not, they will stand as presented. Okay, next, Dave Anderson, would you like to walk us through your report and the 2 action items you have on the agenda?
You bet. So first off, construction season's come to a completion. Finally opened up that box culvert in West Brooklyn, so that's all done. Construction's complete. Working on next year now. Just want to mention just a couple other things under the other category that I didn't have on my report, kind of come to mind. We are in the process of a replacement hire for a maintainer, so that's ongoing. Had a maintainer leave about the first of the month, so we're in the process of finding another one. Secondly, kind of another, just a shout out to our maintenance guys. IDOT has a little competition that they have every year called Build a Better Mousetrap.
What's it called?
It's called Build a Better Mousetrap. It's
Okay.
where local agencies can submit little things that have saved time, money, efficiency, they say prolong infrastructure and such. And we had a little issue on slab bridges deteriorating underneath. And so when we do deck rehabs, there's a little drain insert that we can put in to help mitigate that problem. And so basically I tasked our maintenance guys with coming up with something that'll insert in there that we could use. And they did. They did a nice job. They came up with sort of a repeatable little thing that they can slide in and out and rivet in different places to fit kind of any sort of deck drain hole that there is, and real modifiable design. And so Brian kind of wrote it up, sent it in, and we won the state competition on that. So
wow.
good for our maintenance guys. That pretty creative group. When tasked with a little challenge. So that was kind of fun to see for them. Okay, on to board action items. Got an engineering agreement there from Chastain for a township bridge. That's just the agreement. It'll come out of the township bridge fund that the board would need to pass so that IDOT could appropriate those funds. They're essentially somewhat of a motor fuel tax derivative. The interesting thing about Township Bridge now is that it has quadrupled in its funding, and there was no taxes raised to do so. So it's been an initiative that I've actually worked on with the Illinois Association of County Engineers probably since 2008 now. I just kind of helped out in the process, but we finally got that done, and it's quadrupled. So we used to get about $192,000 a year for 187 township bridges in the county. You imagine at about $450,000 a pop, that didn't go too far in terms of replacing township bridges. So now we're up close to about 800,000 now. So that being said, we used to pretty much do the engineering on most of those bridges in-house, but we're simply not going to have the time at this point. So it's something that comes out of the budget, our local budget, but it's an appropriation that needs to happen there. So that's number one on the list.
All right. Any questions for Dave? Oh, how are we coming on that sign?
So, okay, so, I got that on my list too.
Okay.
And then the other thing that would have to come out of this committee is our annual MFT maintenance appropriation. So you should have that resolution there.
Yes, we have that as well.
So, and then our electronics is closed for the season now. We'll open it back up in April. And we do have the signs, some new signs for all the recycle dumpsters. Ours were outdated. And so we've got some new signs to put up. Actually, my sign guy is got some time off right now, so we'll get those up somewhere, hopefully before the ground freezes and we can get a post in the ground, but we'll get those up. So, yep, we've got those.
Great. Any questions for Dave? Okay, all right. Is there a motion to move the engineering agreement for Township Bridge Designs to the Executive Committee for inclusion on the full county board agenda? Dean first, Reed seconds it. Any discussion on that? No discussions on that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
I just want
Motion
to say
carried.
something. Dave, just pass on to your guys, congratulations on that award.
Yep,
That's
will do.
a little local ingenuity. at
Yeah.
its finest.
Yeah.
Too bad we couldn't get a patent on that and, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Sorry, didn't mean to bring that up. All right, is there a motion to move the annual MFT maintenance appropriation resolutions for 2024 to the executive committee for inclusion on the full county board agenda? Katie first, Reed seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Okay. All right, Jennifer, Assessor's Office. She is
So-
not here.
No, Jennifer did submit, excuse me, Jennifer did submit a report, but the Illinois Association of County Officials Conference is this week, and she is down there in Bloomington attending that conference.
Great. And I see Sammy is also not here. Wendy, do you have something to share with us?
Other than the introduction, which Tom's already taken care of Jeremy, if you haven't had a chance, please be sure and stop by and shake hands with Jeremy and introduce yourself. The only other thing I have is just a reminder that at 5:30 preceding the Tuesday board meeting, this is a Tuesday board meeting this month to avoid Thanksgiving, at 5:30 will be the annual Truth in Taxation hearing. The reason we do a separate hearing outside of the general agenda for the board meeting is the statute requires a separate truth and taxation hearing. It cannot be at the same time as you are hearing and approving the overall budget. So 5:30 instead of 6 o'clock next Tuesday.
All right.
So Wendy, is that something we have to have a regular quorum of the board at that hearing?
Correct. This is for the entire board.
Okay.
Yes, we need a quorum of the board for that hearing.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? Nancy, County Clerk, would you like to share us with your report?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. In my report, I have presently, right now, it's still open enrollment for insurance for everyone and anyone that has insurance. So please see my office if you're interested in changing or adding anything for insurance. And then the biggest date that's coming up is Monday, November 27th, which is the Monday after Thanksgiving, is the first day to file your petitions. So that's coming up real fast. And then, as Wendy said, after this meeting, then I'm proceeding to go down to Bloomington Normal for an annual conference myself. And that's all I have. Any questions?
All right, thank you. IT Department, Paul Gorski, would you like to share the committee with your report?
Yes, thank you. I'm not going to Bloomington, but I do have a meeting at the LEC to get to, so I'm going to do half of my report. Right, did submit a written report. First of all, since Jennifer and Sammy are not here, IT staff want to congratulate Sammy and Jennifer on the successful deployment of the new GIS system and the new website for it. Sammy worked extremely hard to make this deployment a success and deserves a round of applause for his efforts. So, and I had very little to do with it other than giving them the hardware space and the memory and stuff to do it. So thank you very much. Cybersecurity training for staff and elected officials is ongoing. We're only at about 56% completion right now. So I am following up and reaching out to users with any questions they have and to encourage them to complete this required training. Right now, the couple of big projects that IT is assisting with is we're going to be helping staff in new courts with some research and quotes related to an upcoming court technology grant application. And the meeting I'm going to at the LEC is regarding their kind of a kickoff meeting for their body cams. So if anybody has any questions about any other technology projects, let me know.
All right, and I did get my.
You did. Thank you
I
very
got it.
much.
I got it.
And I did send out a reminder last week, and immediately after that, 4 or 5 people did sign up. So our completion rate's really probably closer to 58 or 59% now. So.
All right, thanks. Any questions for Paul? All right, Greg Lotz, would you like to share the committee with your report?
I'll hit some highlights in terms of the last month's activity. At the very top of the report is now a 3-month rolling data in terms of the ridership information for the system. You can see that between August and October, we actually had a 1,500 ride increase. So far for the current fiscal year, 8,713 rides were provided in October, 2,704 service hours, 72,976 miles of service. And our fuel cost actually from September and August actually went down in October. So for that 3-month period of time, we provided 24,000 rides, 7,400 service hours, and over 200,000, almost 201,000 miles of service with $59,000 in terms of fuel cost. In terms of other developments, the definitive agreement for the Reagan Mass Transit District completion is been reviewed by the Chief Counsel of IDOT, and IDOT is now taking a final look at that before sending it back to the county boards here in Lee County and also in Ogle County. We have, if you go further down my report, we're still waiting on pre-award concurrence from IDOT to officially award RLS and Associates the contract for completing the Rochelle feasibility study as well as the Dixon feasibility study. Both of those studies will look at the potential for creating fixed routes for both of those municipalities. And we hope to have that, both of those studies run concurrently and also be finished hopefully by the end of the summer, the first part of fall. And then we're also wrapping up, if you go to the back side of my report, some final details and paperwork associated with the state planning and research funding that we received from IDOT to look more closely at the transportation deserts for both Lee and Ogle counties. And I'm sort of excited about that because we'll partner with NIU. And I think it's not only looking at the transportation needs for public transportation in those two counties, but also just in general, what are the transportation desert pieces associated with the 2-county region. So looking forward to starting that with NIU, hopefully in the very near term, and find out some additional information for the region in general. Jack, that's my report unless there's other questions.
Any questions for Greg? All right, no questions. ROE, Chris.
Yes, thank you. Want to lead off with a very important announcement on the top of our report. November 29th, we are having an open house at our new location from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. We're a member of the Sauk Valley Area Chamber of Commerce. They'll be doing a ribbon cutting at our new location at 3 o'clock, and then we will stay open till 5 o'clock so that all county board members and county administrators, anybody from the county that wants to come over and see our new location that all of you helped us get into, and we're very thankful for, are welcome to stop by that day. We'll be doing tours and giving everyone a good view of our new facility, which has just been awesome for us. And again, our new facility is right next to Goodwill in Sterling. So if you're familiar with Goodwill Plaza, we have the 2 suites right next to Goodwill. So hopefully some of you can put that on your calendars and stop by on the 29th. It'll be Wednesday, November, I think that's a Wednesday. It's November 29th from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. A couple other things I want to hit in my report. It's a busy time for schools and education. As you know, all schools just got their summative report card put out to the public. You can look, any of your school districts you want to look at, you can look at the Illinois Interactive Report Card online. Lee County did very, very well. All of their schools were commendable, which means they're doing what they should be doing and right in line with the state, except for 2. Jefferson Elementary and Madison Elementary and Dixon did fall a little bit below the commendable line. And I know they're going to be working hard on looking at some of those things, but all the other schools in Lee County were commendable, which was really good. If you didn't get a chance to stop by, we just had our annual Pathway Playground at Sauk Valley Community College. We had over 1,100 8th grade students out there on Friday, October 20th, and we had over 70 businesses from Lee, Ogle, and Whiteside County. The entire first floor Sauk was just a big career fair, and was out there for a couple hours walking through with the 8th graders and talking to the businesses, and it was just amazing to see them making a connection with all the 8th graders in our area and hopefully convincing them that when they get done with high school and done with college or any certifications they're going to get, that they'll come and stay here in the area and work for the businesses. So that was a big day for us. And there's a nice article in my report on that the media did. We did have our fall superintendent's networking session at our new office, which was awesome. That was on Thursday, October 5th. Very well attended by our 24 superintendents, and we were able to get the Teacher of the Year from last year, Brianna Morales, to come in and talk to our superintendents about some things and school improvement, and also had some people from ISB come down and talk to us about some legislative issues. So very well attended. They all got a tour of our new facility, and they were very, very impressed with our facility and the room that we have now to get services and do things. Nexus is already working with 87 families this school year. They've been able to work with these families and help them reach over 175 goals. So it's just great. Again, I know Nexus was started a few years ago out of funding from the 3 counties, and we're rocking and rolling every year and really, really doing important work in our communities with families that need help. And our attendance team is already busy working with our 24 school districts and already has over 200 students that they're working with that are suffering a little bit from non-attendance, and they're working hard to help the families and do what they can to make sure those kids get to school. Our Parents as Teachers program was recently recognized with a blue ribbon, as a blue ribbon affiliate by the state, which is really, really important when they look at these programs. It's very important for them to come out and see how they're doing and the services that we're providing. So it was a big deal for our Parents as Teachers program, for Lois, our director, and our 3 family case managers to get that blue ribbon endorsement, which was a big deal for us. That basically says they're doing an excellent job at helping the families with newborns to age 3 that need help. Our education outreach program is rocking and rolling and enrolling more people. And we just were able to hire Martha Mock, who just retired from Dixon High School. She's a math teacher, and that completes our teaching staff that will be working with our young adults that are seeking to get their high school diploma, and I know Martha personally from my time at Dixon, so we're lucky to have her. She's great with math and will help our students with math. And then report on what's going on at our Regional Center for Change. You can see the pictures and how busy we've been, and the enrollment's up to 61. And I just talked to Wendy briefly, and I've updated Whiteside County, and I'll update Ogle County tomorrow at the committee meeting. For whatever reason, IMRF has been auditing the counties in relation to our office, which is a little bit of a concern to me. They are claiming that counties, multi-county regional offices that have employees from the counties, that's not proper. That really Whiteside County, Lee County, and Ogle County, those employees should all be employed by me. And then the county should reimburse me for their salary and benefits. They've let our offices know that over the next 10 years, they're going to hit all of our offices. So I don't know when they're going to audit ROE 47. I do know one office was audited already, and that person kind of didn't fight it, and they made the transition. They moved the county employees to ROE employees. I'm not interested in that at all. I want it to stay just like it is. And Boone Winnebago ROE just got audited, and they were able to argue that the regional superintendent truly is a department head and attends all department head meetings, which I do in all 3 counties, attends all board meetings, and all 3 counties are in charge of their employees. Their employees follow the county policy manuals, and hiring and firing goes through the counties. I make recommendations just like a department head. So they were able to argue it successfully. So if the board members hear anything about that, or that may be coming, I will certainly update any of you, but I'm very excited that Boone Winnebago was able to argue that. And I know Scott, the regional soup there, and I think I can argue that I'm even more of a department head than he is, and that we follow all county regulations. So I'm happy to take any questions about that at any time, but I just want to give everyone a heads up in case you hear about IMRF doing that. So I think we'll be fine, and I think we'll be able to continue the way that we are with the Lee County employee that you guys graciously give me every year, staying as a Lee County employee, following your rules and regulations. But any questions about that or my report?
Thank you, Chris. Any
Yep.
questions for Chris? Okay. Alice, would you like to share the committee with your report and walk us through petitions?
Good morning. This month, coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals to you guys are 3 petitions. The first one is 23P1616 by Wiggins Solar. This project is proposed to be located in South Dixon Township, and it is for a 2-megawatt community solar. The Zoning Board of Appeals unanimously passed a motion to recommend to the county board that this petition be approved on a 3-0 vote. The next one is petition number 23P1618 by petitioner First State Bank. This is located in Brooklyn Township. The properties are currently zoned C1, which is a neighborhood office and business district, and they were seeking a variance from the front yard setbacks along Johnson Street and Second Street. ZBA unanimously approved a motion to recommend to the county board on a 3-0 vote. The last petition is 23P1619 by petitioner Crest Foods. This was located in Ashton Township. They were rezoning from an ag district to the I-1 district. It was a compliance issue. It was found out that they didn't have proper zoning, so we are bringing them into compliance. ZBA voted unanimously to recommend this petition to the county board on a 3-0 vote. There is nothing going to zoning next month. There's also nothing coming from or going to planning. In other business, and not in my report, but worth mentioning, is we are currently working on the building permit process for the Crawford 1 and Crawford 1A community solar projects. We do anticipate a road use agreement coming to you guys, to the county board next month for approval. Laura Mangrum was recently hired as deputy zoning administrator, and she will join our department on the 27th of this month. The zoning office has processed 44 building permits in the month of October and collected $10,738.37 in building permit fees. That is my report, if there's any questions.
Any questions for Alice? All right. All right, let's, is there a motion to move petition 23P1616 to the executive committee for inclusion on the full county board agenda? Dean first, Reed seconds it. Any discussion on this one? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same. Motion carried. Is there a motion to move petition 23P1618 to the executive committee for inclusion on the full county board agenda? First is Dean, second is Reed. Any discussions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same. Motion carried. Is there a motion to move petition 23P1619 to executive committee for inclusion on the full county board agenda? Katie first, seconds by Dean. Any discussion on that? All those, no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same. Motion carried. Thank you. All right, we have no petitions going to the planning and no petitions coming from the planning commission. We don't have anything under old business, new business, Lee County Tent Code discussion only. Alice, would you like to kind of walk us through what you got?
Currently, Lee County has not adopted building codes. For tent staking, this would require the adoption of building codes. As you all know, Lee County is considering the adoption of building codes currently, and this would be something we could consider as part of that adoption.
Do you know of any other counties that have a tent code similar to what we're?
Not currently. I haven't done a whole lot of research, to be honest, so.
Okay. One, that could be something that we could look at, especially someone like Whiteside County who has fairs similar to what Jennifer,
And
Connie had.
they also have adopted building codes, so
Okay.
that's who I would.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's probably one of the things that we need to look at. Any discussions more on looking into this, why this is on topic? Dean?
Is there something that we can do temporarily to, because adopting building codes, to be all honest, is going to take a not fairly, but lengthy process. I mean,
Correct.
does the health department, I go out and assume and inspect when we have a fair or something like this to make sure everything's up to,
So health department's just going to be looking at sanitation and food safety.
right?
So what this essentially comes down to is it becomes a civil matter at this point. So the property at which they were at, the person that, like Ms. Blosser here, could pursue something civilly against the owner of the property, but that would be a short-term remedy.
Right, so at least she's got some remedy of, you know, I'm not feeling hopelessly for her in that regards. But yeah, I think at least we could take a look at it. Again, there we go again, we get these codes and then how we're going to enforce them. And that could be a costly issue as well. So that's something that we need to consider as a body as well. Anybody, anything else, any other comments?
Do we have any ordinances that pertain to temporary structures? How we have for single-family homes and different permitting processes? Do we have any for temporary structures?
We don't have anything for temporary structures, but there are temporary permits that can be obtained. This still wouldn't remedy the tent staking issue. I mean, we can issue a temporary permit to the site for a festival, but that doesn't, we have no mechanism to check tent staking at this point.
So as part of that process, could we draw up something that, you know, basically states this is an important item that you need to consider when you're setting up these festivals, just to, you know, add a little something to it rather than just say, go ahead?
We can. Lee County Fairgrounds is a little bit different. I mean, they're that's what they do is they have festivals. So they have never come to Lee County for a temporary permit. So we're not involved in that at all. When they do come in when private parties come in for a temporary permit for an event, the things we're looking at are parking and other safety issues, making sure they're not going to be blocking roadways and people are going to get hit by cars. So, I mean, ultimately in our office, we would look at this as a civil matter. It would come down to a disagreement between them as the owner of their trailer and then the owner of the property.
Okay. Ellie, did you have anything else?
I think Alice is right, though. Even if we had a building code and permits and inspection for temporary structures, it's still going to end up being a civil matter. So even if there were rules in place, I think that for this situation, that is correct. But I just was wondering if we had temporary permits that were issued for temporary structures.
Well, at least one thing too is when we're looking into this, there's not going to be a whole lot of staking going on at the, you know, during the winter time. So we can at least have time to, you know, dwell into it. So, anything else? All right. We have nothing under executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn? Dean, first, second by Katie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.